Now let us take a moment together in this busy holiday week to enter this time of community once again and to invite the Spirit of life to be present among us as we reflect on how we might set our intentions for the new year. Come, let us worship together.
At the turning of the year, I much prefer to take stock. What's good in my life? What needs to be fixed? Where can I improve, especially when it comes to relationships with those I love? What are my goals for the year? I've seen many posts on Facebook indicating that most people hope this coming year will be better than the last. I wonder how many of those same people said that last year as well. Of course, we all want life to be better, but we are setting ourselves up for failure if we think that nothing bad will happen in a whole year's time. We are the sum total of our life experiences. Those experiences, for better or worse, make us who we are. Practitioners of Wicca or witchcraft or whatever other word you use know that whenever you cast a spell, you must set your intentions for that spell. In fact, I was taught to set my intention for the thing I wanted or something better, because I shouldn't limit myself to only what I think I want. What if instead of a resolution to be something that we are not, we set our intention for X or something better? Be flexible and be better at facing change, especially when it's unwanted and uncontrollable. Be compassionate and be better at showing love in the face of challenging people or situations. Be generous and be better at giving our time to those who need it most. Be ourselves and be better. Intention instead of resolution is a softer, gentler way of allowing us room to grow and giving us grace when we don't quite hit the mark. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship, to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, and to be a light that reveals to us the beauty in our world and each other. As Stella lights our shared chalice, I invite those joining virtually to light your home chalice. Will you please join me now in reading these words in the order of service and on the screen? We come together to remind ourselves to treat all people kindly, because they are our brothers and sisters. Take good of the earth, because it is our home. To live lives full of goodness and love, because that is how we will make our world the best place it can be.
Silence is a gift
can give ourselves whenever we need to pause in life's busyness or to listen to that still small voice within that is often drowned in the chaos that is life. Let us enter the sacred silence now together. Each week, we set aside time to hold in our hearts the struggles, losses, and sorrows of this beloved community and beyond. We take time to memorialize those who have died, to be present to the difficulties of life, to hold in compassion and care those who need our love and support. If you are on Zoom and have a sorrow, loss, or struggle to share, please use the chat box. This morning, we share our deep sorrow with Elizabeth Swango, whose stepfather took his own life last week. We hold you and all of your beloveds in our heart. Personally, I would like to remember my cat Noodle, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge last week. Atticus shares a sorrow and a concern that a sickness has been going around his home, their home. We wish you nothing but healing thoughts and a speedy recovery. This morning, Ginny and I would like to invite you to reflect on the struggles, sorrows, and losses of the past year. So often we struggle alone, not realizing that others are suffering too. We invite you to either stand or raise your hand if you've experienced the loss of a loved one, the loss of a beloved pet, the hurt or separation from a friend or loved one. And you can remain standing, remain with your hands in the air if you'd like. The loss of employment or other financial means, the uncertainty of your own or a loved one's illness, the struggle of depression, anxiety, or mental illness, the feeling of being lonely and disconnected, and I invite you finally to stand or raise your hand if you have had any other struggle, sorrow, or loss. Look around and realize that you are never alone. You may be seated. Let us reflect for a moment in silence. Life also brings joy, wonder, and awe. We've experienced moments this week that have lifted our spirits. Once again, use the chat box to share your joys with us. I would like to mention that many people on Zoom had hands raised for the last section as well. We share the great joy with Swanee that she is a great grandma. Congratulations. Her new great-grandchild's name is Aurora Noel. Atticus shares a joy that their 90-year-old grandmother is joining us all on Zoom this morning. Welcome. As before, we are going to reflect on the joy, wonder, and awe of the last year. So again, you can either stand or raise your hand if you've experienced the birth or adoption of a new family member, a wedding of loved ones, a new pet, a new or better job or promotion, a new relationship, an accomplishment or milestone, a breakthrough in a struggle you've had, the success of a loved one, any other joy, wonder, or awe not mentioned. There are many hands on Zoom as well. There is so much joy to be found all around. You may be seated. Will you please join me now in the spirit of prayer or meditation, as is your practice? This is called The Miracle in the Mundane by Kyle Johnson. O Spirit that moves in all things, great mystery whose reach spans beyond the cold, distant edges of our universe, and yet is present within the vast subatomic emptiness, coursing through every fiber and every breath of our being, and through being itself. Help us to see the miracle in the mundane, to see the crystal stars, the shape-shifting clouds, the patient trees, to see each other through fresh eyes, for it is so easy to forget what we truly are and what we've been given. As we move through our lives, let us remember to see through the mundane to the miracle beneath, and to perceive that common substance that gives birth to our myriad forms, that mystery that spans beyond the edges of the universe and yet infuses our next breath. And let this foundational awareness guide us on our path as we work toward peace and fight for justice, while always informed by a spirit of compassion. May it be so, and amen.
May my voice be strong, and this step be light. May my learning come on this wheel of time, as a breath be took. May the lessons glide swiftly as a wind, gentle as a sigh. Hear it calling me home, hear it calling me listening, hear it calling my soul. Come and be my guide, walking by my side, as a breath be taken, given, taken, given. Come and be my guide, calling me home. May my voice be strong, and this step be light. May our learning come on this wheel of time, as a breath be took. May the lessons glide swiftly as the wind, gentle as a sigh.
if one of you wants to help me turn the pages, you can do that. That would be great. Oh, thank you, Reverend Renee, doing everything to help today. Thank you. The choices you make have superpowers. They bring sunshine or rainy showers. So here are some magical things to do that bring the sun to shine right through. Listen closely to this life advice. Say, I choose, and end with something nice. Take some action. Choose what to do. Repeat this often because magic lives in you. I choose to be responsible. Bathing, brushing, getting dressed, now you look and feel your best. You clean up all the mess you make. Helping out gives mom or dad a break. You can say it with me. I choose to be responsible. Anyone can join in, not just the children, right? I choose to be helpful. Put toys away and feed the cat. You might just like a job like that. Just raise your hand or jump right in. When helping others, we all win. I choose to be helpful. I choose to be, patient, thank you. I choose to be patient, especially when I can't shuffle the pages. Take your time and wait your turn. There are tricky things to learn. When life is slow, you've got to wait. Stay calm and know it turns out great. I choose to be patient. I choose to be confident. You know you can, you believe in you. All by yourself, try something new. You don't give up when things get rough. You know you're made to be super tough. I choose to be confident. I choose to be generous, giving gifts for no reason at all. A cupcake, a flower, maybe a ball. Donating books, clothes, or a toy fills your heart with bursts of joy. I choose to be generous. I choose to be calm. When you're upset, count to 10, or take a break, then try again. If you still feel you're sad and blue, take a calming breath or two. I choose to be calm. I choose to be brave. You speak what's important, kind and true. Your heart leads the way and knows what to do. You try new things with good attitude. You do it politely, without being rude. I choose to be brave. I choose to be forgiving. If something makes you feel so sad, use words to explain the hurt you had. Then it's okay to let those feelings go. Heal your heart and let your smile show. I choose to be forgiving. I choose to be a good sport. Play a game and try to have fun. Say, good job when it's all done. At times you win, at times you lose. Your attitude is what you choose. I choose to be a good sport. I choose to be gentle. Use your hands with grace and care. Be kind to pets when stroking their hair. With little friends, you're careful too, because nobody wants a boo-boo. I choose to be gentle. I choose to be friendly. You say hello to people you meet. You give high fives or handshakes to greet. You use kind words with your sisters and brothers. You show respect to fathers and mothers. I choose to be friendly. I choose to be honest. Mistakes are part of every day. They help you learn a better way. Just say you're sorry. Make it right. The truth will make your heart feel light. I choose to be honest. I choose to be fun. You play, you dance, you joke, you sing. You enjoy what every moment may bring. You don't need to follow the crowd. Be silly, be you, and laugh out loud. I choose to be fun. You are the captain of your own ship. You steer the wheel on this magic trip. So wisely choose the things you do, and always remember the magic starts in you. And Reverend Renee agreed to help hand out an activity. I know you're staying. You're not leaving as we sometimes sing you out for the service, but there's an activity. There's a mirror for the children or anyone else who wants them to remind yourself that that magic is in you, and some stickers you can use to decorate it. But thank you, Reverend Renee. And instead of singing you out to your classes, please us for the service, and we'll now have a song inspired by a mother commissioning a song for her own child to remind him about his place in the world.
We've cleared off the table, leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I've told you a story, tucked you in tight, at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. Oh, you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
Our first reading is an excerpt from Taking the Leap by Pema Chodron. Many of us feel deeply concerned about the state of the world. I know how sincerely people wish for things to change and for beings everywhere to be free of suffering. But if we're honest with ourselves, do we have any idea how to put this aspiration into practice when it comes to our own lives? This story illustrates our dilemma. A Native American grandfather was speaking to his grandson about violence and cruelty in the world and how it comes about. He said it was as if two wolves were fighting in his heart. One wolf was vengeful and angry, and the other wolf was understanding and kind. The young man asked his grandfather which wolf would win the fight in his heart. And the grandfather answered, "The one that wins will be the one I choose to feed." So this is our challenge, the challenge for our spiritual practice and the challenge for the world. How can we train right now, not later, in feeding the right wolf? How can we call on our innate intelligence to see what helps and what hurts, what escalates aggression and what uncovers our good-heartedness? With the global economy in chaos and the environment of the planet at risk, with war raging and suffering escalating, it is time for each of us in our own lives to take the leap and do whatever we can to help turn things around. Taking the leap involves making a commitment to ourselves and to the earth itself, making a commitment to let go of old grudges, to not avoid people and situations and emotions that make us uneasy, to not cling to our fears, our closed-mindedness, our hard-heartedness, our hesitation. Now is the time to develop trust in our basic goodness and the basic goodness of our siblings on this earth. A time to develop confidence in our ability to drop our old ways of staying stuck and to choose wisely. We could do that right here, right now. In our everyday encounters, we can live in a way that will help us learn to do this. When we talk to someone we don't like and don't agree with, maybe a family member or a person at work, we tend to spend a great amount of energy sending anger their way. Yet our resentments, our self-centeredness, are not our basic nature. We all have the natural ability to interrupt old habits. All of us know how healing it is to be kind, how transformative it is to love, what a relief it is to have old grudges drop away. With just a slight shift in perspective, we can realize that people strike out and say mean things for the same reasons we do. With a sense of humor, we can see that our siblings, our partners, our children, our coworkers are driving us crazy the same way we drive other people crazy. When we're feeling resentment or any strong emotion, we can recognize that we are getting worked up and realize that right now we can consciously make the choice to be aggressive or to cool off. It comes down to choosing which wolf we want to feed. Our second reading is an excerpt from Your Future Self by Hal Hershfield. How you think about your future can have a huge impact on your present and future selves. Conventional wisdom holds that we are just one self throughout our lives. After all, we keep our first names, our memories, most of our likes and dislikes. Sure, our selves replace themselves, our fashions are constantly updated, our friendships change, our faces age, but we are who we are. My research tells a different story. Instead of there being a central self at our core, we are instead an aggregation of separate, distinct selves. You are actually a we. We clearly see our present self in our current job, with our current associates and friends, and we remember a different self from 10 years ago when we were in school or just starting out in the job market. And we can easily imagine we will be yet again a different self 10 or 25 years in the future with more experience, skills, and emotional maturity. To make better decisions today that create happier tomorrows, we need to find ways to close the gap between our current and future selves. Our future selves may represent different versions of the people we are today. If we can treat those distant selves as if they were close others, people we care about, love, and want to support, then we can start making choices for them that appreciably improve our lives now and later.
525,600 minutes. I won't sing this, but you might know these lyrics. Please sing if you're so moved. 525,000 moments so dear. 525,000 moments so dear. If you want to sing, go ahead. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife. Come on up, Lori. In 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? Thank you, friends. I have more, not singing. Those lines from Seasons of Love in the musical Rent remind us of the ways we mark time in a single year of our lives. And we could add our own list there, how we would measure it. Each culture approaches the new year with traditions for luck and improvement ahead, whether it's eating certain foods, cleaning your home, getting a haircut, breaking dishes, organizing your closets, waiting for that ball to drop, or blowing up your gingerbread house, one of the loud ways our family has come to mark the formal end of the holiday season. We're ready, the explosives will be tonight. We look for ways to note this passage of time, reflecting on what has been and what we hope to come. Sometimes the idea of resolutions is imposed on us, as Lori mentioned in the call to worship, a barrage of things we're supposed to do in the next year. Many advertisers lure consumers with promises of improved health, appearances, finances, and learning, hoping that buying their products will help us with our resolutions. But more than 90% of such resolutions are abandoned by the end of January. Many of them are based on the idea that we are somehow broken, inadequate, undisciplined, you can fill in the blank, something that we need to fix. But today, based on our first Unitarian Universalist principle, I'd like us to think about ways we can see ourselves as already enough, as people who already have inherent worth and dignity, and who can strive together to set our intentions. As author and educator Diana Robb explains, an intention is a commitment to yourself. It's something to be rather than something to achieve. Today's story, My Magical Choices, reminds young people and all of us that we can actively choose the ways we interact with others. Today's reading from Pema Chodron reminds us that we have the power to choose wisely which wolf within us will feed as part of our spiritual practice. And the reading from Hal Hirschfeld reminds us that each person is a time-traveling aggregate of our many roles and personal histories, coming to terms with our past and learning to befriend our future self with the care we would show toward another person, a friend that we want to support. Social scientists like Hirschfeld have studied self-perception based on letters people would send to their former selves and to and from their future selves. The more real those selves seem to people, the more likely they are to hold the intentions they have about processing their past and making choices for the future. And I'd like for us to think for a moment about our past selves and our future selves and how we might think about them with intention. I've asked my husband, Brooke, to read a poem based on looking back at what is now a 70-year-old photograph from his family album. As he reads, you'll see the image itself that he refers to, and you'll hear his now adult reflections on his then young mother and the advice he would give himself, the child on her lap.
I'm still marveling that so many people knew the words to that song. It's called Mother and Child Reunion. Sandaled toes arching toward the ground, legs out straight before her, like a bird alighting, then levered behind her with a modest shift of weight. She swings with her child on her lap, one hand secure about a chain, the other about her child, the chain caught in the bend of her arm. Together they cleave the humid air, creating their own weather, which blows their hair about their faces and then away, trailing a wake of laughter through which momently they plunge. The child grins beneath his mother's smile, one small hand tight about the chain, swinging in a lazy arc that carries them back and forth past the empty seat beside them, above the heads of zinnias and morning glories, in a garden gone to ruin, in someone's long-ago backyard, in a year we might deduce. Whose garage, whose yard, whose vacant seat, we do not know. All that can be said is that it is summer in a world almost lost to us, wherein a mother and her child swing as they have always swung, midway between 2 points in space and time, enjoying, if they only knew it, the greater beauty, the greater luxury, not of having, but of being memories. A world of modest pleasures, freshly cut zinnias, the rocking of a child, affection that can hold each other closely in the vanishing air of swinging summer, with a grip both casual and sure. It is a snapshot buried in the mind's dim locker of two lives that should have worked and largely did, and to which I cannot not return. For I want to hug this child to me, holding him easily, to give his mother a few hours to herself, a chance to weed this garden or to swing the car in that garage out into the street and off, perhaps to have her hair redone. And I'd like to ask her how she'd like a heart-shaped box of chocolates some Valentine's Day, or dime store earrings for her birthday, or maybe a bouquet of daffodils picked by small hands from a neighbor's flower bed. Would like to tell her of the hours she will pass seeking cherries and sweet corn at roadside stands, just passing time, or pulling a wagon endlessly around the block to lull this child into slumber. And I would like to tell this boy that Little League is supposed to be fun, that his swimming teacher will not let him drown, that one day a girl no older than he will call him on the phone and he should not hang up embarrassed. I'd promised that one Halloween he'd be a pirate and the next a cowboy with a real lasso and cowhide chaps. I think I could explain fractions so he'd understand. And I'd hint that it will not be necessary to worry so about everything from grades to Vietnam, that he'll survive his every world, at least until he is as old as I. Of course, they both survive this world through which they seem to move so effortlessly. And if along the way they lost the cowboy hat, the pirate mask, the dime store earrings, and the daffodil pressed into a book of plays, these were not to be their largest loss, which was the love not for each other, that they kept, but for this too small child, this too young mother, left dangling on a swing somewhere in someone's long ago backyard in a year we could deduce. Love left behind like pools of shadow in their laps, or rather mislaid somewhere like a heart-shaped valentine amid a wealth of sun-struck days through which they continue swinging, their large and rust-stained hands clenching fatigued chains connected to an empty seat.
Thank you, Brooke. I wanted to have that poem included because I found it such a moving snapshot of how we are all those selves at the same time. And it's a joy for me as we celebrated Christmas with Brooke's mother, who's now 94, and to think of this picture and everything that's packed into a hug or an embrace, a Merry Christmas. Each of us has snapshots, maybe not so eloquently expressed, real or constructed in our own mind's dim locker. And we can look at our former selves in such a context. Today, when we asked you to stand or to raise your hand when you think of the past year, that's what we bring when we show up, when we're really present in that moment. It's all there with us. And so we asked you to take a stone as you came in today. You might hold that stone and think about your past selves, your future self, and your intentions. Reflect for a moment about what you might say to your former self to reassure or give advice about what might lie ahead for that child or that person you were last year or 5 years ago. Researchers studying people's willingness to plan for their futures, even if that means making a sacrifice now, conclude that when people are given age-progressed images of themselves, they begin to think of their future selves as real people for whom they can start to take responsibility now. They begin to think of their legacy, their health, their careers, their contributions, their finances in different ways. They tend to prepare for the future for the future self, instead of making those general resolutions to lose 10 pounds, stick to a budget, change a habit, or take their medication. They think of the choices they can make to be a certain kind of person in the future. For me, this means trying to live an ethical life, to take our UU principles and my own values to envision how I would like to be seen and known in those everyday moments in 2024 and, I hope, far beyond. Dolly Chugg, a social psychologist who specializes in unconscious bias, notes in her book, The Person You Mean to Be, that while none of us are good all the time, and some of us are far from good a lot of the time, we still see ourselves as good. Even when we fall short, our reflex is to claim our identity as a good person. Evidence to the contrary is a self-threat. She and other researchers resist the binary of good people and bad people by focusing on what they term bounded ethicality, or the psychology of good-ish people, good-ish. Chugg argues that we can embrace being good-ish, which is a good person who is always striving to be a better person, a true work in progress. Good-ish people are always growing, she says, which is why being good-ish is better than being good. Being good-ish, she says, sets a higher ethical standard for ourselves, because when we are good-ish, we are learning. My intention is to be a good-ish person, an ethical person, even and maybe especially in those small moments, feeding the right wolf and making the choices to care for myself, others, and the planet. But Chugg's distinction that being good-ish is more challenging and ethical resonates with me, and her claim that our interest in being called a good person can often impede our own ability to do good in the world. I'd like to share a poem of mine, Becoming Good, that reflects my sense that although I might seek to be a good person, it's an aim, an intention, not a self-definition I will ever actually reach. This is a collage poem that I created more than 10 years ago. I don't expect you to be able to read the words, but it doesn't come from my ideas and feelings about a distinct image and memory like Brooks' amazing poem, but from picking out and arranging scraps of interesting words from the shoe boxes I've filled with them over the years, those cuttings, and gradually finding the idea. Didn't start with the idea, I find the poem by spreading out the words and seeing what happens. You can see the collage on this slide, which I'm showing you just so you believe me that these were from cut words, but I'll read the text. And it's become for me the way that I talk about my future self, reminding me of intentions I have for being present and working toward being good-ish. It's called Becoming Good. What is uncommon goodness beyond the academic and political questions, the triple shell of moral knowledge, intelligence, and reasoning? It's more than the good testament and heartfelt beliefs to love your neighbor and follow the laws, to donate blood, time, and money, to vote, volunteer, forgive, sacrifice, recycle, help, floss, to work for peace, fairness, integrity, gratitude, to offer comfort, respect, love, mercy, wisdom, to confront ugly, scalding attacks with generous calm, not to lie, cheat, poison, wreck, bruise, or tailgate. It's no simple calibration with one evidence-based measure. It's a stock of little, underrated, disappearing moments, suffused with grace, offered with mindfulness, with good heart, and both hands open. As you think about your own intentions for the next year and beyond, I hope you'll remember these poems from Brooke and me. You bring to every moment of this year and all that's ahead everyone that you are. the person you were in the albums of your memories, with all the joy, strife, maybe even trauma of your past, and the relationships that have brought you to this room today. You are already enough, with inherent worth and dignity. And although things will inevitably happen that are beyond your control, the person you will become in the 525,600 minutes of 2024 will be based in large part on your own choices, your intentions, your willingness to befriend and challenge your future self. With mindfulness, heart, and grace, we can help each other take these small, important leaps.
I'm going to go off script for a second and just say wow to the poetry. I've known Brooke for many, many, many years, and his poetry has always moved me. And if you loved that poem, you have several books published. I would encourage you to seek them out. They're all worth it.
Give me $5 in a minute.
Okay, excellent. He said, I'll give you your $5 in a minute. Our spiritual community thrives in its shared life of worship, community, and ministry as each of us participates in the circle of giving and receiving. This is possible due to your generous gifts of money, time, and care for each other and the recognition that we are all connected. There is a special card in the offering, in the pews in front of you, the My Offering card. It shows the many ways that you are giving to this community, even with your presence this morning. As the ushers come forward and collect the offering, please include that card, if you are so moved, to fill the baskets with reminders of what we bring each day. You don't have to mark anything on the card. Just drop it in. December's special offering is for the Minister's Discretionary Fund, a fund that allows Reverend Stephen to help members of the congregation and beyond in times of need. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another and this community and the abundance that makes generosity possible, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond. Will the ushers please come forward?
Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it water and time for a day or a year. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it love. 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 Take the dream that you have and dream it here. Give it courage and time for a day or a year. Take the dream that you have and dream it here. Give it love. 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 Give it love.
Katie, Mike, Brad, Vanessa, and Renee, too. Thank you so much for the music today. And Katie. As we conclude our service, I want to welcome all to Hobbs Hall for our social hour and a chance to enjoy one another's company. And if you're able, please stay for the vision board workshop that a member of our community, Heather Pritchard, will lead beginning at 11:30. Thanks, Heather. Look forward to it. Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. And now, please rise, and if you're able, and join in singing our closing hymn, Amazing Grace. We will be singing this song circle style, so with singers around the room and with voices but no instruments. The lyrics for this song, which are familiar to everyone, were written by an Anglican clergyman and former slave trader, John Newton. It was first performed on New Year's Day, 1773, and in its 250-year history that has demonstrated its beautiful ability to shapeshift, a reporter described this, it's a religious text or not. It's a hymn or a gospel song or a folk song. It spurs protesters to march on, or it calms an angry crowd. It's a song of hope or mourning or celebration. It's a song you can sing with others or listen to in the quiet of your own home. Today, this will be our song, our imperfect voices raised together.
Okay. When we say sacred song circle style, it's a practice that we do twice a month on Thursdays, and it means we come in close so we can feel the resonance of one another's voices. So Katie will be at one end, I'll be at the other, and you can either look at the words up there, go from memory, or use the little sheet in your order of service.
bold our intentions with grace as we hear Fitted for This Day by UU Minister Kimberly Quinn Johnson, inspired by June Jordan's poem for South African women. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And now let us go forth as good-ish people, choosing to continue inspiring love, working for justice, and growing together in community. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.